Today's topic is free to grow, and there is an ancient story. It's from the Talmud in Judaism. And the legend goes that every single blade of grass has an individual angel whispering, grow, grow, grow. And if that is true in the energy of nature, how much more true is it for each and every one of us who has a guardian angel, and I do believe in angels, that whispers, grow, 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 grow. And believe me, I have been a minister almost 40 years, and I have seen spiritual complacency. And what keeps me here on this platform is that angel every day of my life that whispers, grow, 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 grow. That we are all here by right of consciousness. We all have feet of clay. We all have fallen down, brushed ourselves off, and we keep on keeping on. And what we know is that all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. That's a biblical verse. What that means metaphysically, all have made mistakes and fallen short of their true self-image. And when we see that, then that angel, grow, 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 grow. Grow past your fears. Grow past your limitations. Grow past all of the programming that no longer serves you. Grow, 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 grow. And as we begin to rise up in our true spiritual stature, all of the stuff from the past disappears in the natural process of life itself because we have taken a stand to grow, to unfold, to expand. That's why we are here. And the minute that we get bored, we think we know it all. Isn't it interesting how the universe, says, I have a little lesson for you, honey. You're just waiting for it. I can see that. And then we get to learn and grow, 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 grow. We either become empowered or embittered. We become better or bitter. It's our choice. If we are not growing and unfolding, we become bitter. And when we are growing and unfolding in miraculous ways, we become empowered. We take all of those experiences, and it's interesting. We create something wonderful out of it. We serve one another out of it. Our heart expands in amazing ways. I love the story about the father who was going through the market, and his little guy who looked about 2 years old was just screaming his head off. Screaming his head off. And he was just very calm, and he said, be calm, Bobby. And he's going, through the market. Be calm, Bobby. Don't yell, Bobby. Be at peace, Bobby. Be calm, Bobby. And finally this woman came over, she goes, I just want to really acknowledge how wonderful you are with your little Bobby. It's just fantastic to hear a father with such patience. He said, he's not Bobby, I am. Yeah, I'm talking to myself here. Be calm, Bobby. Be at peace, Bobby. Don't yell, Bobby. So as our self-talk becomes more positive, our life expands. We do grow, and we do unfold, and we keep learning. And what's so great about our day and age is that there's so much available for us. If we're not readers, then there's DVDs. There's all kinds of great things that are out for our consciousness to unfold and to grow. And CDs, as we're driving. I never drive that I don't put a CD in that I am learning and growing. It's something that's going to stretch me. And as we give ourselves the opportunity to grow, it's amazing how we either take people with us or those that choose not to grow. It's interesting how that unfolds as well. Because I know that people are with us for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But our mandate is to grow and to unfold and to bless each and every person that comes within our energy field. Now, in the year 2000, I went to Washington, D.C. because Marianne Williamson had just written a book, and the book was called The Healing of America. And it's got some hands with 3 eggs in it, spirit, mind, and body. And she was forming the new Renaissance for America. And one of the stories that she shares in this book is that she was taking her little daughter and her friend to a craft class, and they were painting cats, and one couldn't figure out to paint it white with the little black spots, or black with the white spots. And she says, as they were deliberating over these huge decisions of what to paint, colors to paint the cat, she was going through her manuscript for this book. And the owner of the craft shop came up and said, "What are you doing?" She said, "I'm going through the manuscript of the book I'm publishing." And he said, "And what is the name of it?" And she said, "It's The Healing of America." And he said, "Well, do you think we need healing? Do you think we need healing?" And she said, "Well, I think there's a lot right with our country, but I think that there are things that do need healing. I think that there are things we do need to work on. What do you think?" He said, "I think you're right. I think there's a lot right with our country, but there's a lot that needs to be healed. There's a lot that we need to deal with." And whenever I see somebody, being condemnatory on Facebook or whatever, I just say there's a lot of work to do on the planet. That, as Gandhi said, we are not going to, we have to be the change we want to see in the world. Einstein said, we're not going to solve the world's problems with the same energy that created them. We're just not. We've got to then spiritualize ourselves. We've got to acknowledge that if I want to be the change I want to see in the world, it doesn't include judgment or condemnation or being critical or all of that hostility that's out there. That's an energy wavelength that we tap into. And it is easy to tap into that wavelength, that thought form. It's easy. But to rise up and to realize we have a lot of work to do on the planet. That there is, this nation founded under the principles, spiritual principles, one nation under God, indivisible, with justice and liberty for all. The freedom that allows us to be who we are and who we are not. And the recognition that we are here by right of destiny, and that we are here to fulfill that destiny. That we are here to open to all that is good and true and beautiful. The Bible states, and I love this statement, whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are beautiful, whatsoever things are of good report, think on these things. Put our attention on the things that are working, that are unfolding for our highest best, to do the things that we need to do for ourselves so it spills out onto everyone in our energy field. That Abraham Lincoln suffered from very deep depression, and he had to really deal with it. And yet he came through it and said, people are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. He suffered the loss of 2 children. He suffered his wife, who was in constant depression herself over this. And yet he rose through it and said, people are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. And I am not free if there is slavery in this world. And he took his stand. And I think that Lincoln was such a prototype because we're all subject to our depressions and to the things that occur that affect us deeply. And that when we have grief situations that occur in our lives, that we spiritualize these. That we never stop missing anyone that we have ever loved, ever. On July 11th, 7/11/77, Neil Stroud made his transition. Every 7/11, my daughter and I get together and we celebrate his birthday. This is his rebirth day. This is his ascension, where he left the planet because he had immortal longings and other work to do. We're all going to make that journey over the Rainbow Bridge. But while we are here to live. We are here to express. We are here to be all that we can be. And that when we get it, the moment of enlightenment is the moment that I realize I have a choice. And that I'm given a hand up. That's why we volunteer every Thanksgiving and Christmas at Well in the Desert, for the people that need a hand up for that moment. And many of the volunteers were once the ones that need the hand up. And as we recognize energetically our oneness, then there's no looking outside ourselves, is there? That we are just feeling that energy of one. And for our viewing audience, nothing happens by chance. That we are here by divine appointment. That we didn't just happen in today, and because of Interfaith Spiritual Center Worldwide, a divine idea in the mind of God whose time has come, realizing the time is now, that we can be out in the world, as Warren is, sharing the philosophy that we inspire, teach, and heal. We share and expand the experience of God's love by means of one another. And that as people passed the table at the street fair, they could feel that there was an energy here that they were drawn to. And people come into our way of life because there is no judgment here. We're all human. Our humanness is giving way to the divine as the Christ consciousness, the Buddha nature, the sacred I am arises triumphant and victorious through it all. Through all of it. And we go through all of the human experiences, and we can learn that self-talk. Yes, be calm, be at peace, be loving, allow yourself to just breathe through this moment. And as we breathe, the life force energy absolutely relaxes us in such an amazing way. And when we're relaxed, we can make very good decisions. We can make informed decisions rather than the knee-jerk response. That we can come from that place of compassion and that place of love. I carry this around with me. It's a little bag with 3 pennies in it. And it's just to remind me that Mother Teresa had a similar little bag with 3 pennies. And she wanted to build orphanages throughout the world. And it was so interesting because somebody said, well, how much money do you have, Mother? And she said, I have 3 pennies. And they laughed. You're going to build worldwide orphanages with 3 pennies? Oh, wow, amazing. Tell me another one. And she said, as she picked up her little bag, and she said, with God and 3 pennies, I can do anything. I can do anything. That this is the creative substance in these 3 pennies that can do anything. The subatomic particles that Jesus had in those, 3 fish and 5 loaves of bread and fed the 5,000. The subatomic particles, the energy that allows everything to unfold. And when she was very clear in the 80s that she was going to build a hospice and create a hospice for AIDS patients, and everybody came out with their placards because they were so fearful. I love this. A journalist went up to her and said, what do you think of all this, Mother? And she said, they are each my Christ in distressing disguise. And she just kept on creating that hospice. And today we stand here and we're together. We're acknowledging, yes, there's a lot of work to do on the planet. A lot of healing that needs to transpire. But the truth is that we're here today as the 2 or 3 gather together. With God and 3 pennies, I can do anything. I can see a cure for AIDS and cancer and all the diseases that are here to teach us unconditional love and caring for one another. And I believe that's what dis-ease is all about. That cancer, the psychological cause in mind for cancer, is deep, unresolved emotional hurt and disappointment. And my husband, the day that he passed, actually the night before, he said, I forgive my father for leaving us at 5 years old, and my mother was pregnant with my little brother. And I've carried that all these years. And I just had such a realization that it doesn't matter, that all is well and there's only love. And when we can realize that there's only love, and that we may not agree with what occurred, but to forgive and to let go and let God do what God does best by means of us being the light of the world. That each of us is the light of the world, and each of us has an angel that whispers into our ear, grow, 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 grow. In the areas that we feel the most vulnerable, in the areas where we react, in the areas that we are unhealed, that is, I call the sacred wound. The wound that allows us to come forth in compassion. My daughter said something to me this week, and I took, I had considerations about it. But as I thought about it, I said, I'll work on I didn't need to defend. I thought, girl, at almost 40 years in the ministry, you are just growing leaps and bounds that you can say this. Because, it's really interesting. It's about our family that really stretches us the most, that we react to. And so I could just say, I'll work on this. Thank you for drawing it to my attention. And she said, but you don't realize, Mother, your words have the greatest impact on me. And when you say it, it just goes right to the deepest level inside of me. And I said, well, losing your father at 7 years old, and you have that woundedness and that experience, but out of that, you help. Isn't it wonderful that she chose to be a social worker and to work for abused children? Children that have no one, children that are all alone, an adopted one as well. And the story I love the best is I sat in the audience at the Anaheim Convention Center a year ago, and there were senators, and there were assembly people, and there were politicians, and there were parents of foster children. They were all there at the Anaheim Convention Center. And I listened to my daughter give the keynote speech about being there for the children, about being a beneficial presence. And my story I love the best is when she went in as a young girl to a home for abused children, and they chased a little boy down, and they were going to force feed him some castor oil. She said, I'll have none of that. She's her mother's daughter. I'll have none of that. She went into the kitchen, she got the blender, she got the chocolate ice cream, she put the milk in it, then put the castor oil in it, she blended it up and said, try this. She goes, this is really good. Trish knows what I need. Trish knows. And I said, yes, if we can all put what we have to say to one another in a chocolate milkshake, we're going to be just so much happier, aren't we? It's palatable. It's palatable. So if I say something and my child comes and says, this is how it affects me, I say, I'll work on that. Thank you. I'll work on that. Because we are all growing and we are all unfolding in miraculous ways. And each of us, and I want you to remember, each of us has an angel. That spiritual complacency has no place in our consciousness. Each of us has an angel that whispers, grow, 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 grow. What are we going to do? We're going to grow, aren't we? We're going to grow, 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 grow. This is the time. This is the place. This is the opportunity that we have to what? Grow, 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 because we are what? Going higher yet. And as we go higher yet, we take everyone in the energy field with us. And it is wonderful that we can acknowledge that opportunity together. I love you. I bless you. I say it's about the freedom to be who we are. Namaste.